Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Talking Parra this week, week 14. We are missing one of our stars this week, and it is Troy from the Parra Cave. Filling in for Troy, we have Mika over here on my left. Welcome, Mika.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Looking forward to it. And let's hand it over to our prestigious host, Adam.
How prestigious? Wow, big claim. But yeah, no, we've dropped Troy. Look, people are calling for some blood yesterday after that result, so we've decided to drop Troy this week. But no, he's offered a Parramatta Members Council, so we wish him all the best for that, and he'll be back next week. But let's get straight into it. It's very rare we do this on a Tuesday after having a Monday game where we're still fresh. We're probably still a little bit angry, but round 14 of the NRL's wrapped up, and look, it was obviously a disappointing day there at a core stadium. First trip to a core stadium for a while. It's still a shithole, I'm not going to lie. It's still a terrible place to get to, terrible place to park, and terrible place to watch football. And the Blue and Gold Army turned out in massive numbers as we expect they would for the Bulldogs home game, more like a Parramatta home game. But look, they were the ones making all the noise in the end, weren't they? With a 34-4 loss, very disappointing performance. I'll let you kick it off, Hayden. I know you were there as well. Your thoughts on the game yesterday?
Yeah, the boys in the New South Wales Cup weren't able to get the result in the first game, going down, I think it was 30 points to 20. Early lead at half time, and then Bulldogs came back from behind. But the complete opposite for the NRL game. No respect for our opponent. I won't make claims on here, but I've kind of said I hope some of the rumours I've heard regarding the way that we went into this game, the complete setup. Obviously, Matt, you spoke to me that you believe there was no captain's run. I've heard some other rumours, and I tell you what, I really hope that there's a much better preparation this week. I guess there was a few shining lights for the most part, but I can't really say that one Eels player absolutely tried their hardest all game. One thing I think for the side, which I was a little bit disappointed that one particular change wasn't made, I think Isaiah Papali'i needs to be back in that back row. It's where he's damaging. We've seen it against Canberra. He's run over Papali'i. We've seen it against other teams. So I think Murata, for me, back to the bench for Murata for a few weeks, and Papali'i moving back. But yeah, very interesting that we've stuck with the same kind of 17, which we'll definitely speak about later. But I thought there was going to be some changes, but I guess Brad's stuck solid with the losing side this round.
Yeah, interesting you mentioned those changes, and I think one theory behind that might also be that obviously a game last night finishing at 6 p.m. and the team going into today might have done much reviewing of the game yet and really looked at what he needs to change. But I'll go to you now, Matt, for your opinion on that game as well.
Yeah, it's just we just didn't turn up. I think had too many days off. As I've looked across the socials, I don't see any pictures of captain's run yesterday, like on Sunday, which is a bit worrying because every team should have a captain's run so they can mentally prepare. And it showed on the field. We just had no preparation for that game. It's good to see that he's stuck with the same side in a way of gives them a chance to pull themselves out and prove that that might have been a one-off. But we've seen it too many times where we just we dumb ourselves down to the bottom teams and make them look like Penrith and Storm. So hopefully it all changes this week and we have a better prep.
Yeah, wonderful. And Michael, you're obviously watching me at home. Your thoughts on yesterday?
Yeah, I was filthy. Absolutely filthy. I actually was at work, not at home.
Didn't want to say you're watching at work. It's kind of, as you're doing a podcast.
I had my eyes on my public holiday. I made sure it was pretty cruisy day at work. But yeah, I couldn't really believe what I was watching. I was actually really convinced all this week that we were going to win by 30. I thought with our extra time off and the way we defended against Canberra, I was pretty sure that we were going to beat a bottom team convincingly like we should if we're going for the top four. So I couldn't really believe what I was watching, and it was probably one of our most embarrassing losses I can remember in a long time. I thought that was one we really should have nailed. Another chance to get into the top four, and we not only did we not come close, we weren't even in. Not only were we not in the same ballpark, we weren't even playing the same game. We were way off. So
Since you've just touched on that, I just want to say that I've obviously, if you don't know, I've attended over 150 NRL games, and you mentioned being one of the worst losses. For me, this is definitely the second worst loss I've attended as an Eels fan. I think nothing for me can beat that 2020 game against the Rabbitohs, 38 points to nil. It was at home. Matto denied a try, but yeah, absolutely agree. One of the worst in a long time for our club.
Yeah, Magic around 2019's right up there as well, getting absolutely pumped by Ryan Pappenhausen.
It was entertaining that though. Like it was.
No, it wasn't.
At least that was against the Storm. Like,
yeah, that's true. But yeah, we've had 3 opportunities now to get ourselves back in that top 4. I believe it was Cronulla we got beat by, then when we got beat by the Cowboys as well. And now this round, where all we had to do, I think we only had to win by 12 points against the bottom team. We jumped Brisbane. We're in 4th spot, obviously, with the Cowboys, who have got quite significant for against. And once again, well, we just didn't turn up. So it's starting to become a real concern. We've gone against the Tigers. Look, you can't say the Cowboys are a bottom team, because since they beat us, they've gone on to obviously beat Melbourne as well. But that result there was obviously shocking, when in pretty short price favourites in that game up in Darwin as well. But look, my thoughts on the game was, he's pretty much touched on it, but yeah, it was just a pretty pathetic performance all around. We really didn't look like scoring. We'll touch on obviously that early no try as well after this, but after that we didn't look like scoring. We got out coached, we got outplayed. I don't think the Bulldogs would have won that game if Trent Barrett was still the coach. I'm going to say that now. Potter did his research. We know against Manly how Bailey was rushing in off the wing. We kind of, 2 out of 4 of us probably called for his head. Then he had a blinder against Canberra, but they exposed that straight away. Kick over the top, got him thinking. Then they hit the short side a couple of times at O'Carr. And then what we had to do was obviously spread out of defence, and they started beating us through the middle. Not many teams can beat us through the middle with our forward pack. And a Bulldogs pack with no end of the size and no end of the ability ran straight through us. It's not really one of those games where you can bag out the players who are bad, because it was most of them. But I thought Wonga was good, besides the inability to pass the ball to Sivo, which we knew was going to be the case. But I thought he was actually pretty good. He ran for like about 140, 150 metres in the centres. Got back and did some hard work. Look, Sivo, people are saying he should be dropped. The same people that wanted him brought back into the team for the last 3 weeks. It's his first game back from a major injury. You've got to give him time. He took the tough carries. They weren't impressive, but at least he took them. We've seen him go away from that. Like, he ran for 130 metres, I believe. We've seen him run for 50 in other games before. So at his peak fitness. So I'm hoping it's one of those losses that we needed. Those ones we look back and say it's the loss we needed. I'm glad we're playing the Roosters next week. If we're playing, one of the bottom teams next week, I reckon it could be interesting how we actually mentally prepared ourselves. We've got to get ourselves up for a Roosters team. We weren't hard done by, but obviously when we played them earlier in the year, we got back in the game and then couldn't quite win it. So we'll go to that first no try, because really it was our only really scoring opportunity in the game. And I thought, oh, shit, we've gone straight through. How easy is this going to be? We're going to kill this mob. But it was a dive. I have no doubt it was a dive. But if Wonga would have passed the ball to Sivo, I'll go to you, Hayden. Would you have had a try there? Sivo unmarked.
I would have had a try, mate. I kept saying to Tom, I was sitting next to him, I kept saying, mate, Wonga needs to pass this ball. I think I said that I wasn't going to back Sivo to score 2 tries last week purely because Wonga won't be passing the ball more than once all game. That's pretty much what he did. I kind of agree with you that he had a pretty good game, but I definitely think his better position is on the wing, in my opinion. I don't think he fits that centre role. Yeah, some good carries, some good meters, but as you mentioned, just can't pass the ball. And when you get the ball to him, he's athletic.
Yeah, correct. Anyone else any thoughts on those tries or Wonga's performance?
Yeah, for me, a pet hate is lead runners who go through the line and hit the outside shoulder, whether it's a dive or not. You're a professional football player. It's a black and white rule. Don't hit the outside shoulder. Like, don't do it. It can't be that hard, Kenny.
Well, it's interesting. I had this argument with training with my halfback.
Hey?
I had this argument with my halfback at football training about 4 weeks ago. He was telling me to run the outside shoulder because it's where the gap is. But you've obviously got to commit to getting through that line. But obviously, if a player comes and milks it as well, you're screwed straight away. And for me, I'll say it now before we get to the team. I don't know how Sean Lane's starting this week. I know we've said it for a while. I don't know what Brad Arthur sees in him. Like, he's a big body on the field, obviously, but I don't know what I was listening to on the way home, but they had Tim Manor and a couple of others talking about it. It was some Sydney radio station. They said Parramatta have got a couple of players out there that are built like Tarzan and play like Jane. So I think Sean Lane might be one of those ones they were talking about, because it's just the little efforts, the little efforts he doesn't make, the lazy efforts to get through the line, the lazy efforts to get back on side. Those little effort things that just seem to let him down. So we'll go to another moment in the game, which was obviously the Moses no try. It kind of summed up the day, didn't it? It's one of those ones where you thought, well, good on the Bulldogs. They're showing the effort here. They've got the game wrapped up, but it made you wonder what the hell was going on when he did that. Matt, your thoughts?
It's not your day.
Yeah, it was a strange one, because usually he dives. Every time he makes a break and scores, he dives. This time he just casually walked over, went to put the ball down, not even looking. He should have just dove under the post and got up, tried to fight back somehow. But yeah, it just summed up the mentality of the whole day, I'm guessing. So yeah, that's all you have to do is laugh.
Yeah, I did. I laughed that hard. I got up and walked out with 15 minutes to go, which is something I very rarely do. But I actually made it back in Newcastle in time to play Oz tag at Newcastle. So that was the good result out of all of it. One more thing we'll talk about before we move on to this week's game. Obviously, I'm going to touch on it because it's been everywhere today. All the groups, all the forums. Brad Arthur, he's copping it left, right, and centre. The Eels flirted with us this afternoon, didn't they? They turned around, they put out a major coaching announcement change up, and everyone thought, "Oh shit, what's going on here?" But it really wasn't that major, was it? It was just a bit of a assistant coach and New South Wales coach stuff. But as I said, I was listening to the radio on the way home, and there's one that I don't know what station it is, but Tim Manor was on it. And a bloke rang up and said, straight up, Tim Manor, is it time for Brad Arthur to go? Now, we know that Tim and Brad, when Tim retired, they obviously didn't see eye to eye. He's not the first player to be aged in his 30s to not see eye to eye to him on the way out the door. Obviously played a lot of reserve grade and stuff. But the thing Tim said is actually a thing that Father's been saying for ages. And Tim goes, look, I love what Brad's done for the club. He's been there a while. He got through a rebuild after Wooden Spoons. He got through a rebuild after the salary cap drama. He's got the team playing consistent finals football. He said, I don't think he's the coach to take Parramatta to a premiership. He's had his chance and he doesn't seem to get up. I know you feel pretty passionate about this one, Michael, so I'll go to you. Your thoughts? Can Brad Arthur win us a premiership, or is it time for him to...
I don't know if he can or not, but I definitely don't think it's time for him to go 100%, because no other club in the NRL would sack a coach that got you a top 5 or 4 finish in most of his years. And then in those final series, some of the early ones were pretty bad, but we've improved every final series. No one was calling for his head last year when we finally turned up week 1 of the finals and then took it to Penrith in a game that could have gone either way. Everyone's saying that now. If we get to the finals now and we make week 2 again and bail out badly, then I'll be going, yeah, look, maybe. Probably time he should go because he's reached his peak. But if we make it to week 3 this year and lose in a game again in a tight game that could go either way, I'm like, well, he's still improving every year. He changed a few things last year. We've always talked about Parramatta going bad at the end of the year. I'm hoping this year he's just changing things up and trying to time our run into the finals better. Because other than that, there's probably no other excuse for some of our games this year. But and if you do sack him, who do you get? Who out there is proving it's better? No one.
I was going to go to Matt next. I know, Matt, you're a pretty big believer of Madge floating around, potentially as an assistant coach.
No, well, Madge pretty much was going to be BA's assistant coach this year, but then got offered the Tigers role. So I feel like them two are best friends and BA might bring him in to help him out a bit. Madge has got a footy head. He just didn't have the players around him to do what he needed to at Tigers. But with BA, I feel like he needs to start acting like a coach and not their dad. I feel like he lets the players run him and not the other way around.
Jacob? Does he have to act like his dad? Or?
not just Jacob. Just there's certain players that are just too cocky, and if they don't get their own way, they cry and melt down, and he pats them on the back too much and strokes their ego, and he literally needs to just put them all on notice, straight up. Just put them all on notice. If they don't make it, there's a case. I think last contract he got, if he doesn't make the 8, he's gone. I'm pretty sure that's one of the things the board put in his contract. The new one.
I saw a thing today saying he had no ladder incentives in his contract.
Really? Because what I heard last renewal, it was top 8 or nothing. So
yeah, I'd have to double check.
It shouldn't be a question about the top 8.
No.
A team that's made finals appearances, obviously besides 2018, but for 3 years straight in 4 out of 5 years, should be expected to make the top 8.
And they will.
They will.
Yeah. I just feel like he needs something around him, or add another player to the squad. Not saying
needs
names.
help is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's when I'll go to Hayden as well. If he does get help and it is an ex-NRL coach, is he pretty much, writing his own headline there that he could be gone if we don't perform in the final series? If we bring in, let's say, a Shane Flanagan or a Madge or, someone else, is that the end for Brad if we don't perform?
Mate, you took the name right out of my mouth. Shane Flanagan, that would be my choice, Matt. He's got Madge as his choice up there. But, yeah, for me, I've been saying for quite a while that Shane Flanagan, look, you've seen what he did at the Cronulla Sharks in 2016 with that side. And, look, I think this year is a big one. Obviously, we re-signed him on that contract. But I think if we did have kind of a different coach under the squad that we do have, because we've got such a powerful squad and those results over the years, and this is going to be a huge year towards the end of the year with so many players leaving, makes it interesting. But yeah, kind of like the Bulldogs, if someone is named like a Phil Gould, if a big name comes around Parramatta, you'd start to think that if form starts to drop off, and touch wood, if the 8 is missed, which it definitely won't be, then his head could be off at Parramatta.
All right, let's move on to a couple of signing rumours before we get to next week's game. And it came out, obviously, between last podcast, this one, Ryan Madison was apparently signing for the Dolphins. Captain, done deal. It's been about the 17th or 18th bloke that's a done deal to the Dolphins. It hasn't come true. It's believed Parramatta have upped their offers. We know the club's stance on not paying over for players, but with what we've lost, obviously losing Papali'i, which was a huge loss, I understand that one. Well, I don't understand it, but money-wise, I understand it. Obviously, Murata, another second rower there as well. I think Madison is key to keep, especially with the form he's in. I know his market's just gone up for an Origin player. Probably wasn't the best in Origin, didn't do much wrong, but he obviously got himself in that team. But the other one, which we probably first mentioned about 4 or 5 weeks ago, was a rumour of Angus Crichton. So, look, I'd have no problem with Madison and Angus Crichton starting in the second row together. That'd be ideal. Papali'i, obviously a different player, but it really is that Papali'i's a power forward on the edge, isn't he? If you get Madison and you get Crichton, you've kind of got that flamboyant kind of style where they can both ball play, you can put your wingers away. We've seen Gutho struggle with some of his block plays into putting the wingers down the sideline. You don't need Gutho running those plays if you've got 2 second rowers like that. Anyone got any news? Any suspicions on Crichton there? Or?
Well, I know BA went for him last time and was pretty close to getting him. I think there was some rumors, I think it was like 2 years ago, that he was going to be a mid-season signing and switch to Parra because he was unhappy and this and that. But, yeah, I'd like to see him try and up it to get both of them, to be honest. Maybe with all the rumors as well of bringing in, say, like a Kenny Edwards or a Manu Mao back to Eels, and I know the playing group and the coaching staff's a bit like butting heads about potentially bringing those guys back. They know the system, they know the coaching, they know everything. If you add some of the old players back in on cheap contracts that we've lost over the last couple of years, maybe it could be a good thing, because then it frees up some more money to go after players like Crichton and whoever else we're going to be linked to in the off season.
Yeah, we obviously signed, I don't know if it's been officially announced yet, but Davey on apparently a 2-year deal as well, which is another returning player. I know he's good depth. He's playing quite good football.
Apparently that was fake. Wasn't that fake?
It was what?
That was fake news, apparently.
Was it? No, I haven't touched on it. I've got a bloke who can tell me, but I'll find out and confirm it next week. But if it is someone, obviously, like you said, someone who's been in the system and stuff and come back and do a job, good depth cover, it could be what we need, obviously, with losing quite a few players. All right, move on to this week. Saturday night, 7:35, Combank Stadium, Parramatta versus the Roosters. As we touched on earlier, at the moment, no changes to the team. It'll be interesting if that stays the same. I think Hayden probably nailed it, and Papali'i will probably go back to an edge somewhere. I don't know if Madison or Brown will start a lock. Brown appears to be a bit out of favour at the moment. I think
Brown's a huge chance. I thought he played pretty good against the Dogs, and he got in there with a bit of grit, showing the fight. So, got in the brawl. I think it'd be a great opportunity for Brown to come 17 into that lock role.
Yeah, honestly, that's what I mean. He's probably hungry for it as well after obviously starting on the bench for quite a few weeks. They said he had a bit of an impact when he came on. I don't see many changes to the back line. Obviously, Dylan Brown was carrying that ankle injury and got through the game averagely, but he got through the game. So didn't appear to have an injury, just didn't appear to be interested in playing football like probably 15 of the 17. Obviously, a huge game, as we touched on. It was only a few weeks ago he played the Roosters up at Magic Round. What was it? It was round 10. Now we're playing them again in round 15. So 5 weeks ago. Obviously, they got the jump on us early. There's that weird stat that floats around that is it when you're playing 1 in 5, 1 in 6, that 80% of the time that no team will win both games.
Yeah, 78% of the time or something. If you play an NRL team within the same 4-week month, the results will be reversed.
Well, it's technically 4 weeks.
So we're out of that.
That's true. But that backfires for us later in the year because I think we play Brisbane. I think we play them in round 19, then round 24. So it's 5 weeks again, but still quick turnaround. Look, I think we'll be hungry for this one based off the result up there at Magic Round. Like I said, we got ourselves back into a game, and then Suali scored that pretty good try that we saw a similar try disallowed the week after. But the Roosters, they've been a lot like us, haven't they? They've been pretty inconsistent, pretty up and down. We touched on that last time we played them, and we said we knew they'd turn up. Obviously, we haven't played at home since the 20th of May, so it's almost you're looking at nearly a month since we've been at home. And of a disappointing result, we'll have no doubt if that game last week was at Parramatta, Combank Stadium, the team probably would have got booed off the field. So they'll be looking to turn up. They'll be looking for a good game. I'll go to you first, Hayden. Your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, obviously sticking solid by that. The losing 17 shows. I think a lot of other teams drop players, but I think it shows kind of trust within our playing group, which is quite good. Beaten by the Roosters at Magic Round. You mentioned it, that early start. They put plenty of points on early against us, so we can't be getting off to the wrong foot in the start of this game. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I'm not sure if I'll be in attendance. I've got a busy day on Sunday with Supernova. I'd like to get down. You mentioned first game in a month, and we're always hungry at home. And we play better at home too. And since we've had our off week, it's our 1 week.
Well, that's it. We had 2 on weeks, then we had a bye, then we had an off week. So they're all over the place at the moment. But I did mean to touch on that. I realised we didn't do our man of the matches for the weekend's game, but I think I'm just going to leave it for this week. There really wasn't a standout performance, was there? So no one gets the man of the match this week, and our bold predictions, well, they were nowhere near. So we won't even touch on them. Michael, your thoughts on the game? You'll obviously be there on Saturday night. Probably drunk and ludicrous.
I will. I will be the drunkest man in the stadium, and I will probably be the loudest. I think we'll actually back up pretty well. I reckon they would have copped an absolute pizzling off Arthur. I hope they did after the weekend. I don't know. I just think we definitely do turn up against the top teams better, and I think we'll be keen to turn it around after that loss. And being at home's a bonus. I think we need to watch Hargraves' butt because I just think, given the way the Dogs forwards went at us, I think Pangai Jr. was fantastic. I think Hargraves has still got that in him as well, so we need to watch that. I'm interested to see if Keary ends up playing after the weekend.
I can
He's
tell you
been named, but hey,
I can tell you this much: Hargraves ain't playing, so
Isn't he?
we won't have to watch it.
Yeah.
Don't have to watch the show and go.
The show and go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking at their team then for the first time, and I realised he's not named at all. So unless he's there, the number 18 usually gets me, but he doesn't appear to be named at all. No, that's Lachlan
Right.
Lee.
Okay, that's interesting. What about Keary? Do you reckon he's going to play?
To be honest, I didn't see the Roosters game on the weekend, so I don't even know what happened to him. What happened to him?
Oh, he got KO'd again, and it was you can see the look on his face.
Kafusi came down with the elbow.
The elbow that Kafusi got away with again.
No, that was
Like
Walker.
Madison.
Was
Keary,
it?
Keary copped a knee in the back of the head,
Oh, that one, yeah.
and he
Maybe.
knew straight away he was pretty bad. And given his history, I'm like, I just the way
I don't think he will. Isn't it if you get ruled out of the rest of the game, you have to have the following week off?
I don't know. They've named him at the moment, but they said he has to undergo head knock protocols all week, and I just don't think he'll play.
Yeah, well, they've named Watson at 14, and they've got Lachlan Lamb at 18, so as 18th man. So you'd probably would you see Watson at 5'8" or Lamb at 5'8"? Either way, they've got a bit of depth to cover it there. For me, their player to watch, I think Teddy's just going to keep a bit of his run from Origin. Like I think that Origin game in the second half, he hasn't been in that great a form this year, and there was kind of calls for if he wasn't the New South Wales captain, he probably wouldn't have been fullback. And then Pappenhausen obviously got hurt as well, which kind of helped him. But I think Teddy's one of those players that always, unless Sivo runs over him or someone decides to knock him out, and then the Roosters decide to ruin the game of rugby league for about 6 or 7 weeks, like they did. Was that last year when Murata hit a falling Teddy and then the game was ruined? Oh, yep. Then Magic Round the week after was a highlight of probably most people's rugby league careers. Anyway, Teddy always seems to turn up against us. He loves playing against Mitch. We obviously know they're pretty good mates as well. So I think Teddy's obviously the danger player there for us. Hayden, go to you. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I reckon Sawali's the danger player for me. Sawali's been in some great form. He honestly is playing himself. I don't think he'll get picked for Origin. We've seen him on that reserves list, but I think he's a smoky chance on the wing if he keeps playing the way he does. The other one you haven't mentioned is that Sam Verrills is back for the Roosters. That's a big in to have your genuine hooker, but both him and Connor Watson in jersey 14, they're both going to be fighting over that jersey. Watson's been in some great form, but at home, hopefully too good.
Hopefully too good.
Does Verrills end up at Parra next year? That's what
it was rumoured early on. There was just nothing ever happened with it, was there? Obviously, Brendan Smith's going there, but I think we kind of floated. The idea was floated, and then he's had a terrible run of injuries, and he's kept that up this year as well. So it's one of those ones. You bring in a 34-year-old that's come off an ACL, which obviously we're doing, or bring a younger player in that just has had a terrible run. So I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'm still hoping one of the young kids coming through can, obviously make the move up to hooker next year. But look, our premiership window is still open this year. That's what we've got to keep saying. That's what they keep saying to us. Even though we got pumped by the Bulldogs, so we'll worry about next year. That's for sure. Look, what else is there about this game? I don't really think there's much else to go into, to be honest. See last week's disappointment. Hope they can turn around and get a win, but we'll go to our score lines. I'll throw you under the bus, Michael. You ready?
22-12 Parra.
Yeah, 22-12 Parra. Now you got to give me a first try scorer.
First try scorer. Penasini.
It's like Troy's here. Troy goes Will Penasini every week.
Okay.
No, you can keep Penasini. That's fine. But now I need your bold prediction.
Oh, Jesus. I'm going to go, I reckon there'll be a sin binning.
Oh, your favourite, Adam.
It's my favourite, and I nailed 2 sin bins. I nailed 2 sin bins a couple of weeks ago.
I reckon Moses for a double.
Sin bin and Moses for a double?
Yeah. Because he's got to make up for that really lazy.
That's what Hayden was going by the look of it. So let's go straight to Hayden. Hayden, Far away. This happens every week. Don't worry.
Yeah, it does happen every week. I've already put it on YouTube before this came out on my tips that I've got Moses first try scorer and Moses to score a double.
There you go.
But anyway,
You can stick with it.
Look, I'm gonna go 20 points to 16. I reckon we'll win by 4. I think that the Roosters side won't change. If Kiri doesn't play, I think we can put plenty of points on. Impressive victory, 13 plus. But I think that he will play. So I'm going to go 20 to 16. Moses first try scorer. My bold prediction is that the reverse of what we saw last week in regards to an intercept. So I'm going to say Will Penasini is the player to do it. So let's say Will Penasini to... I don't reckon he'll score off it, but I reckon he'll get a really good intercept. Will Penasini to record an intercept.
I'd love to see Nick Will get an intercept because we haven't really seen him in open space yet, have we? See how quick he actually is. We've seen him zigzag and stuff. So that'd be nice. We also want to see Bailey in open space as well. But all right, Matt, I'll go last. You're writing them down. What do you got?
All right. I got Parra 32-12.
Yep.
So, yeah, 12.
12.
I'm going to go RCG, first try scorer.
Yep, at $61. Brilliant.
I feel like we're going to do a lot of barge over tries. I'm going to say that despite last game we played the Roosters, I'm going to say no tries from the Roosters will be scored off kicks as my bold prediction.
Does that include kicks up to Tupou's wing, even though Tupou's not there?
And
Wait, is Tupou there?
Yeah, Tupou's playing. He's on one wing. So I was
okay. So does that include?
If you watch that if you watch that last game, I think they scored 4 tries from kicks. The rest were so all their tries pretty much come from kicks. So I'm going to tip that Parra's going to wake up to that, and no tries to be scored off kicks for Roosters.
All right. Well, you took my score line. I was going to say 32-12. I'm going to go 31-12. I'm going to make a different prediction that if Kiri doesn't play, it'll be a closer game. And the reason I'm saying that is because at the start of the year, I had the Roosters picked as my minor premiers. I've said this quite a few times about them. I thought they were a better team when Walker was in control last year when Kiri was out. It's not taking away from Kiri, but I just feel like they haven't found that balance like we did in 2010 with Mortimer and... Was it Mortimer and Robson in 2010? Was Robson still there in 2010? Yeah. And obviously Mortimer burst on the scene quite like Walker did last year, and then we just couldn't find that balance. So I think it's one of those games where if he is out, Walker will get to take control of the team and there'll be a closer game. Anyway, I'm going 31-12. My first try scorer is going to be Reid Mahoney after a pretty dismal performance on the weekend where I thought at times he tried to overdo it against obviously a team he's signed for next year. So he'll be pretty disappointed with that and want to put a good game on. And my bold prediction, which is pretty bold actually, because I'm going to go into more detail, but Sivo to score 2 tries, but Sivo to score a 60-metre plus try. All right. That doesn't happen. Most of Sivo's tries are from 15 metres out. So Sivo to score a 60-metre plus try.
Is he going to get gassed, or is he going to jog? Or
he'll probably run out someone for no apparent reason.
Maybe that's the intercept.
That might be the intercept.
He'll be in the clear and just decide to run at Teddy and push him off for some strange reason. But I don't know. I was looking at him at the weekend. I know it was his first game back, but he just doesn't look as big, which is fantastic. So,
do you reckon he is in the first grade team if Dunster and Russell are fit?
Not if they're fit.
No.
I just think
yes. No. Yes.
I think Russell's spot would have been hard to take if Russell didn't get injured. And I think he's probably the most hard.
I think it would be Russell and Sivo personally. I do.
No, I don't think Sivo would have got a contract if it wasn't in his favour next year.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that was the smartest business ever by his manager, taking that player option next year. Look, it's one of those things, isn't it? Obviously, it's probably we needed a winger back. I think Russell's just got to bide his time, and knowing the luck we've had, he will get another chance. But for a bloke to score 3 tries in 29 minutes and then get taken out for 6 or 7 weeks by, we obviously know it was a knees to the ribs. We're not the Roosters, so we didn't get to whinge about it as much. But, I feel that, you might be right. Russell might have held that spot. But in saying that...
winger that knows how to finish. Like, some of those tries he scored, I don't think Sivo scored.
Well, Sivo would try to run over him.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. But in saying that, if Sivo was fit against Canberra, or Sivo was fit this week, he might have got a run anyway because Bailey might have been dropped. So you just don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's our bold predictions. Obviously, our scores that we're usually nowhere near. So we'll see how we go this week. But should be nice.
Pretty close.
Last week, you kidding? Yeah, for reverse the scores.
The reverse scores.
For reverse the scores, we were very close.
Troy had 38-6.
Yeah, the other way around.
You had 38-10.
Yeah, the other way around.
And Troy had Will Penasini first try. He was the first and only Eels scorer as well.
Yeah, we've cursed Paul Will this year, hasn't he? He hasn't scored many. So
I'll tell you what, Mika, stealing that Moses double, mate. Get on it, punters. I'm telling you.
All right, so obviously we'll see a lot of people out at Bankwest Stadium CommBank Stadium. It's always going to be Bankwest, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's never going to change. It's just stuck in the head forever. So CommBank Stadium, same bank anyway. Saturday night, should be a pretty big crowd, like I said, on a cold night. Middle of June, where else would you rather be? Hopefully we can turn the result around and keep striving for that top 4 spot.
Thanks for watching, guys.